Is this the right move to bring Kyrie back?
No, it isn't. I think it's a horrible move. I think it's a disgraceful move. I think that Nets ownership is incredibly disappointing, and I think that the league should intervene. I want to put this out there, and I want to be very, very clear about where I stand. I'm open to the league invoking its best interest of the game clause and mandating that everybody be vaccinated in some capacity. Now, I don't give a damn what you got to do, whether it's Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, whether it's talking to Aaron Rodgers and finding out what being immunized is all about, whether it's something that Kyrie is exploring with the Canadian government, whatever complies or that ultimately stipulates that you are indeed vaccinated, I think that that is something that should be mandated. This is a global health crisis. This is a pandemic. You know, your privacy, yeah, your medical history and all of that other stuff, that's private. That's true. But whether or not you have COVID-19 is not a private matter when you have the ability to be contaminated. I wasn't out partying. I wasn't acting up. I didn't sit up there and overexpose myself to anything. This stuff can happen to you just standing in front of somebody's face, for crying out loud. And to have to watch the Brooklyn Nets reverse course and take this position is one of the most shameful things I think they could have ever done. And I'll go a step further. One of the last people in the world who's worth it is Kyrie Irving. Now let me count the ways. Let me preface my comments by saying this. Kyrie Irving is a superstar. Kyrie Irving is box office. I would pay Kyrie Irving $50 million a year. He's worth it as a talent. I want to announce to the world today, I think that anybody who gives Kyrie Irving more than a one-year deal at a time are the stupidest people on the planet. He would never get another long-term deal from me because he can't be trusted. This man finds every excuse not to show up to work. This man finds every excuse under the sun not to play basketball unless he wants to. I'm not accusing him of not working hard. I'm not accusing him of being somebody that's not going out there, Tim Legler, and putting forth his due diligence to be in shape, to be ready. That's not what I'm accusing him of. I'm saying he believes people are beneath him. He believes he's the high road guy, that he looks down on people. It's his way. He wants to do things by his rules and regulations. He doesn't want to capitulate to anything. And he believes that anybody who does got something wrong with them instead of looking at himself. The Brooklyn Nets know this. And you would make this concession? I don't want to hear about bodies flying and as a result you're trying to win a championship. And so, you know what? We need Kyrie Irving. Well, suppose you playing against a team that plays in a city that has that mandate. Suppose that mandate is adopted by other cities. We can't rule out that possibility in the weeks and the months to come due to the Omicron and the Delta variant. We can't rule these things out. There's no telling what kind of stipulations or restrictions are going to be implemented in the days, weeks, and months to come that could potentially prohibit him from playing basketball. So at the end of the day, if you're the National Basketball Association, which I'm sure agrees with me, and you're the Brooklyn Nets in particular, to make this capitulation, to make this concession for him, who, by the way, was away from basketball for 10 months before coming back for 2 weeks last year, and then the riots at the U.S. Capitol took place, and he was traumatized and needed time away from basketball. Didn't get back the money, mind you. Didn't get back the money. Still expected to be paid. This is the Kyrie Irving that we're talking about. So for me, the fact that that they reversed course on this is egregious and disgusting, to be quite honest with you. But what makes it even more so that way is that they did it for him, because he's the last person in the world who deserves it. Not as a talent. As a talent, he deserves all of it. But as somebody who is trustworthy, hell no. He's the last person that you should make this kind of concession for. And the Brooklyn Nets, in my opinion, were rude today. They made this decision.
Yeah, listen, Stephen A., you laid out the case perfectly about everything that Kyrie Irving represents and why they should make this decision for him. So I'm just to add to it a little bit. Here's where I have such a problem with it. when you compromise your principles and your integrity as an organization for what you are supposed to represent and what this is supposed to be about and what team sports are supposed to be about. Because to me, from the beginning, to think that you could allow a guy to just show up, play on the road, not practice with you, not play home games, not be a part of everything that goes into the blood and sweat and the emotional investment that has to go into winning, to allow a guy to escape that and just show up and give you his 20 to 25 or 30 on a given night on the road to help you win some games, to me, from the beginning, was insane. And then when they stepped up and said, listen, if you're not all in, we don't want you around, I saluted them, I applauded them. It sounded like they were doing it for the right reasons because they had some sort of integrity about making that decision. Like, we got to go forward with the guys that are going to be here every day, fully bought in. And I know from a coaching staff in particular, for Steve Nash, to think about having to incorporate a guy that's a ball-dominant scorer, as elite as he is, and then you get him one night, and then now you got to go play a couple games without him when you just try to figure out how to incorporate him in the first place. I knew Steve Nash didn't want any part of that. I think that played a big part into why they shut it down in the beginning. So to now just reverse course because you've hit some circumstances with a number of guys in health and safety protocols, because Kevin Durant is playing a lot of minutes right now, and you're worried about the drain on him, to reverse course on that and compromise everything that team sports are about in terms of everybody being in the same direction and pulling in the same direction, to me, it's really grotesque that you would do it now just because you find yourself in some difficult circumstances with regard to your roster. So I completely agree with you. It's really disappointing that Sean Marks, Steve Nash, and the organization would now reverse course when really nothing has changed with regard to Kyrie Irving. Their circumstances have changed, so now their principles have changed as well.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.